Hi guys, so in this video I want to speak to an awesome, very beautiful lady. I always enjoy it when women come on my YouTube channel because it's just like a different vibe, a better vibe. Anyway, so the person I'm speaking to is a software engineer at Microsoft. It's not just any company. She's also a DJ and she's also a YouTuber, and I have no idea how she does it because I mean doing many things is a lot. I can't imagine coding during the day and now deciding that I want to go on party and do DJ. Like, so she's like an amazing superstar. Hi, Adora.
Hi. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Sure, like I'm super amazed. I got to know you through Michelle on a personal note, but I've always sort of like seen you on the internet. I'm just like, she's doing so much, it's so amazing. Like, how are you doing it? So in this video, we're just going to talk about her career. She works at Microsoft. Yeah. And how does it feel like being a software engineer, a woman software engineer in one of the leading companies in the world? And just talk also about her passions and how she manages everything. So stay, watch this video.
Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am PC Timmy, a change maker, professional, and creative who is passionate about growing people and growing businesses. Like, comment, subscribe to my channel, and please always share my videos. It promises to always be impactful and insightful.
Hi Adora, again.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
So you went from studying computer science, right, first class, because beauty and brains, and becoming a software engineer. Do you want to like tell us how it happened? I mean, it seems like a very logical progression from computer science to software engineer, but is there any like other backstory in there?
The backstory isn't so much, if I'm being honest, because I was very intentional about what I wanted to do from the start. Since I was like 7 years old, it's like, okay, obviously at 7, I didn't know what software engineering was. But all I knew was that when I grew up, I want to be working with computers a lot, right? And that sort of influenced a bunch of decisions I made. Going into secondary school, deciding to take ICT very seriously at that time, and then building weird websites that were very ugly. Very ugly, by the way, but that's a very different conversation.
But at that time, you're like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, it's like, this is the bomb. Like, they were very ugly. And then, you know, I remember when it was time to like fill jam form and all of that, even if I ended up not using it. But like, oh, what do you want to study? I want to study math and I want to learn to code. Because I didn't know that there was something like computer science. And I think having people around you, like mentorship is important. Just having information at your disposal in general is very important. Because if I had made that decision that I wanted to make, my life would have taken a different turn. I'm not saying that my life wouldn't be good, but I don't know where I would be at this time, right? But I remember having this conversation with like my brothers, and my eldest brother had a friend that was in MIT at the time doing some kind of computer science masters, and he spoke to me and told me, oh, there's this thing called computer science. If you want to code anyway, just do it now, right? And then that's how I got into. So from day one, I'm not one of those people that landed into computer science by mistake because I thought, oh, they are teaching us Microsoft Word in this place. No, like I knew that I'm coming here, I'm probably going to learn programming, I'm going to live here. I made a few mistakes because at that time, in the beginning, I used to depend solely on what I was being taught in school. So I wasn't one of those people that like outside school I'll go and do. I just wanted, oh, maybe if I do my courses well and I pass, I will be a good programmer and I will get a great job. So that was the mindset from the beginning. But that mindset changed as I got into like higher levels and before I graduated. But initially that was the plan. Go to school, study computer science, come out, be a programmer. It's always been that.
Interesting. So how did you know about programming at first? Because you said that when you were about to enter school, you said, I was going to study math and do coding. How did you know that coding was a thing?
I don't even remember how old I was when I wrote my first line of code. I was probably 8 or 9 or something. I was really young. I used to write Visual... I used to use Visual Basic to validate my math assignments. So I don't even know whether it was that part that influenced my love for math,
right?
Or it was my love for math that made me do that, and that sort of now fueled the love for programming. I don't know which one came first. It was kind of like a chicken and egg situation for me. But I know that when I was younger and I get a math assignment and I'm done with it, I'll go and write. I'll put the formula, because obviously we know that multiplication in coding is like that asterisk sign, division is the under sign. We know plus, we know minus. I'll put the formula in a program and I'll put the values that I got, and I'll see if I got the same answer. So from that time, I was already having that logical reasoning thing as a child, from like 8 or 9. And it was Visual Basic, VB.net. I don't remember what it was called then, but I was writing that at that young age. And like I said, I got into secondary school. I was taking ICT very seriously as well, and I got exposed to HTML and CSS as early as SS1. So
she went to very good schools.
Yeah, I went to a good school. So like I was already sort of exposed to these things, being exposed to computers in my house, and then I stumbled upon, because it was a mistake, I stumbled on Visual Basic, I stumbled on CorelDRAW and Photoshop as well. I was making very ugly complimentary cards, very ugly. But like, I knew that when I found HTML and CSS and I could make something, oh, this is a header, wow, this is a header, really? And then, oh, this is a link. And there was one very funny, I think it was Macui, one very funny tag that when you use the tag, the text goes from like one end of the screen to the other screen, and it's like, oh, this thing is moving, it's cute.
And I did that.
So like, there are so many things.
So it's cute.
So there are so many things that you just do, and you're like, wow, I just did this. So I've always like, I got exposed to coding pretty early, and I just knew that
this is it.
This is where I want to end up. Maybe I don't think I want to be coding in a few years from now because I'm tired.
Okay, we're coming there.
But like before now, I thought, okay, this was a logical step, and then I was very intentional.
So how did you get your first job? Because I know you got it while you were still in school. So how did it happen?
You know, there are some courses that you do in university where you have to do some kind of 6-month compulsory internship, that CWES thing, before you graduate. And before then, I didn't really care about employment. I had done a few things, like freelance work for people, mostly family members, to be honest. Because you can build websites.
Yeah, I think.
So that's what it was at the beginning. But that was like my first real job. And how did I get that job? I remember, like I said, I've always wanted to code, right? And then one day my father just came home. Okay, so for your IT, you're going to Fidelity Bank. And I'm like, Fidelity what? And then he's like, oh, you're going to Fidelity Bank, something. I called somebody IT support. And I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing that. In my head. But when he said it, I'm like, okay, thank you, daddy. Yes, daddy. Oh, I have a job now, yay. And then I told my mom, like, yo, I'm not doing this shit. So, because obviously, nobody, you know how African families are.
Yeah.
They'll not be like, you're a bad child. Oh, you don't want to listen to your parents. So at that point, I just decided to do this on my own and not stress them. So I remember I started looking for jobs. I went to so many places. Sorry, we don't take interns. Sorry, we don't have experience. I'm like, is it internship? Oh yeah, don't pay me. Just
let me come inside.
Just let me come, because I just wanted to write code. I didn't want to go to Fidelity Bank to go and do IT support, because in my head I'm like, what would my career be long term? I'm not interested in this in any way. I don't want to get experience somewhere and start getting experience in a place that isn't really I want, and then I'm stuck there because that's where I started in the first place. So I was trying different places. I actually even tried Anaco. That's a different story. Me and Editi Editi tweeted about me that day, because apparently he said I was being rude to him, but that's a different conversation. So I tried Anaco. I tried different places, and then, Anaco wanted to give me an offer, but because of what happened between me and Editi, I was already afraid, so I said I wasn't going. And other different places, I didn't get any. And then one day, one boy in my class was like, oh, his sister-in-law works in a certain digital agency, and they're new, and they're trying to hire female engineers. Do I want to try there for my internship? I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. So I went there the next day. There were plenty. Everybody from my class came. Actually, it wasn't like boys, girls. They came to write the test, and then they chose the 2 interns that they wanted, myself and another guy from my class. And after that, then they chose us, did all the necessary interviews, sent offer. When I looked at the money, I'm like, what's this? Just people don't pay me then, because this money is rubbish. But because I wasn't doing it for the money, I just knew that. Because Fidelity was going to pay me money. At that time, they were going to pay me money, but now it's not money, But
she can't even help herself. I love the energy.
But so I wasn't really doing it for the money. So I just wanted somewhere I would get an experience.
How much exactly did they pay you?
how much did they pay me in that place? 15,000 naira.
Oh, okay.
And then Fidelity was going to give me 60.
Ah, that was a lot of money there.
Yeah, that was a lot of money.
My
there.
first salary was 25,000 naira, and I felt like, oh, I don't have more. At 25K, I was like when I got it offer, that was in 2016. I was like, love and light. I'm now independent.
That's big money, man. So yeah, like at that time, 60K was big money, even for a student.
Yeah.
Right, as an intern. So it made more sense, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do this, not for, because now when you now add the money with the allowance that my dad was giving me, the small 15K, the allowance my dad was giving me, I'm like, okay, I can still survive. I'm not looking for money, so let me just do this one that'll give me experience. And then that was my internship, which when I was done with the 6 months, I refused to leave that internship.
You refused?
I refused to leave. When they're like, oh, after 6 months, you've done well, we really like you. Okay, so what are your plans? I said, my plan is to remain here.
You're joking.
Because there's something that my parents did for me that up till today, I'm thankful to God for. They shielded me from the mess that is Nigeria. So up until like I entered that place and I started going to work every day and having conversations with people that were not necessarily in the same social class as I was, I had a very different mindset. So I'm like, almost so there's unemployment in this country. Wow. So I'm like, I've now heard about unemployment being a thing. Lack of experience is going to be hard for you to get a job if you don't have experience and all of that. So I'm like, okay, this is just internship, but it's no, according to Nigerian standard, I don't have work experience yet. So I want to build some kind of relationship with the people that I don't want them to forget me so easily. I don't want to leave yet. So that when I'm done with school, I can easily come back and then get actual post, school experience from there before I decide that I want to do whether it's a master's or get another job that is better or whatever. And then I told the CEO there at the time, she thought it was a good idea. Oh, can you? I'm like, yes, I don't have to be coming here every day, right? I can be a remote intern. They were still paying me the 15K, I was still collecting it, but low-key, I just didn't want them to forget me. I didn't want that thing where, I leave, and then when it's time to come back, I'm like, how far? Should be this job today. Then I'll be like, so about that, we hired somebody else. I didn't want to give room for that to happen because of what I had realized that Nigeria was. And then I stayed there for a full year. My final year was a mess. Final year projects, juggling the job as well. And then at that time, I was running a business. I used to make shoes before. So those three things, it was a lot for one person. It was very terrible. But I don't know how I was able to do it, thank God. I finished, and then I finished my exams October of 2018. Sorry, October of 2017. Wow. October of 2017, and then I resumed there as like an actual software developer full-time January 2018. Oh. Yeah, so that was my transition into like from internship to I'm not going anywhere internship to
the strong end.
Strong end, coconut head internship.
Say you're not going anywhere. If you get it, don't come outside.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then when you left there, you spent like a year plus as a full-time staff.
Yeah.
And then you got into Microsoft.
Yeah.
And that's where you've been. Like,
that's where I've been since.
How? It's like in the last 1 year or maybe 18 months that we know that people are beginning to, like, people in tech are working for like big companies, Netflix, Google, Twitter, Facebook. Then it's just like the companies in Nigeria. But I mean, you did it like
straight out of school. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So how did it happen?
I don't know. I don't want to say it was just luck, but I think that if I don't say it was luck, I'll be lying to myself because it's not even really about how good you are, how talented you are, or how much of yourself you put out there, if I'm being very honest. Because a lot of people put themselves out there as well. Yeah. There are lots of people that are very great engineers as well. So I think that maybe I was just lucky to be in the right place at the right time. And so I told you that I started working in this place January of 2018. November of 2018. So yes, I started working there January of 2018. My convocation, Unilag, was May 2018. And the week of my convocation, I started hearing gist that one boy in my class got into Microsoft. I'm like, wow. Because I used to say these things a lot. Like, I've always been, I even tried to do a Microsoft for Africa internship program in my final year. Like, I wanted to apply for it so that I could spend my NYSC year working there. But that application, up to today, you don't know where it is. So, like, everybody around me has always known that Microsoft and Google are two companies that I always wanted to work at. If you're around me, you know that. And then this guy, they said that he got a job at Microsoft. I'm like, oh wow, is it Nigeria or are you Japa? You know? And then that's how they said it's the Vancouver office. I'm like, okay, how did you get the offer? Did you apply? Where did you see it? So that maybe when I'm ready, so I can do the same thing. They came to school to do university recruiting. And I was so sad. I felt so bad because I'm like, okay, Microsoft came to Unilag to do university recruiting. And you people kept this news to yourself and didn't tell the whole class. Because only a few, they were mostly, if you went to Unilag, you know that Senate building side. So when Microsoft came, they were more with the engineering crew. Where it's like the computer engineering students, system engineering students, that side, because that's where the Senate building is and that's where they went. So only a few computer science students knew about it. And they didn't think it was necessary to actually tell the whole class that, yo, this is what's going on. Right? I had no idea. And I felt so bad because this is one thing that I wanted. And the guy was not like, oh, sorry, I didn't know that this is something that you would want. Yeah, this is the name of the recruiter on LinkedIn. Reach out to her. I reached out to that recruiter on LinkedIn up to today. She has not answered me. But that made me feel very bad. This happened like April, May 2018. And then in 2016, I was supposed to go for a Google event in Switzerland. But they did not give me visa. They didn't give me visa. So, but because of that whole process, Google was not like, I know how sad you would be about not being able to come for this event. I hope this would not affect you in, you know, your passion and wanting to work for Google. So I was already in touch with people in Google in Dublin at the time, right? So I was so angry. That anger stayed in me for like 6 months. Because I remember in November of 2018, I'm like, I'm ready. I'm doing Google interview. Shebi they go to Microsoft. Me, I'm going to Google. I carried my leg. I opened laptop. I sent email to recruiter. Hello, I'm ready for this interview, please. And then the recruiter was like, oh, I've been transferred to a different unit. I'm going to, you know, introduce you to somebody else that will go on with these interviews. Are you done with school? But I said, yes, I'm done. And they said, okay, do interview. I did the interview. They asked me something so basic. Like, I had so much confidence in myself that I didn't think I had to get ready for the interview. Because, I mean, I've been coming first. I'm that... First class person at the end of the day. Do you get? So, I'm like, I know it. I was born for this. Nobody's gonna tell me nothing. I entered the interview. I banged. I banged the life out of this interview, God. And I felt very bad. Like, even my mom saw me, I was crying and everything. And she's like, hey, don't worry, you'll do better next time. And I just stopped crying and I said, I'm not doing better next time because there's no next time. The next company that wants to hire me will come and hire me here. Like, I just said that thing. I just opened my mouth and said it and I just left it. This was November of 2018. And January 2019. Because around that time, October 2018 was when I launched my blog. Right. I had started writing. I remember when I told my CEO at the time where I used to work before that, oh, I want to start sharing knowledge. Like, I want to start, because 2016 when I started working, the reason why I feel like I had a lot of issues that I had was because the tech community then did not exist. Like, it didn't even exist early 2016. It was 2016 it started, right? So 2018, a lot of things were already happening, and I'm like, okay, I kind of want to do something to be a part of this somehow. So I wanted to just share what I could share for anybody that could, like. And the funny thing about all these things is that a lot of times I thought I was sharing and nobody was paying attention. And my CEO used to tell me that you don't know who's watching. Let me tell you something. People are watching, you just don't know it yet. So whatever it is that you're doing, don't lose that thing that got you to, like, do this in the first place. Don't lose hope. Keep being motivated and keep doing it because people are watching. And I kept doing it, right? And then one day, a different recruiter from Microsoft reached out to me January 2019 that, oh, Microsoft is coming to Lagos to hire engineers, blah, blah, blah. They've been following me, like they've been following me on LinkedIn. They've been seeing my career progression and all the things that I put out. And they think I should like do the interviews when it's time. I'm like, okay.
But of course.
What am I doing with my life? Please, let's do this. And then I think he opened up officially in March. And then he sent the link to me. I applied, and then I got called to do interviews. So the first interview that I did, God,
you didn't bang this one,
I lied. I lied. My office people, that was so. I think I did the interview on Tuesday, and CDS was Wednesday. So on Tuesday, I just called and said, I'm not feeling okay. I'm sick. I'm sick. So actually on Monday. So Monday I didn't go to the office. Tuesday I didn't go to the office. Wednesday was CDS, and then Thursday I resumed. So how do you feel? Is your malaria? I'm fine now. We thank God. Because I needed that time
to prep,
to like get ready. I knew the phone interview was the small, like the one that didn't require so much, but I didn't, because I mean it was the phone interview at Google that I literally banged. It was the first interview I banged. I didn't even get to the stage where you do 4 back-to-back interviews. So I did the phone interview with the Microsoft person. Sounded well. I remember him. I work with him now, and then sometimes we just talk about that interview because I overdid a FICO that day. I said it's a lie. I'm not going to bang this one. So my FICO that day was on the highest level. And then after the interview, the first thing I did was I went to my mom. I'm like, mommy, I don't have shoes to wear for this in-person interview. And she's like, did they say you did well? Are you moving on to the next stage? I said, I don't know, but that's their business. I'm moving on. And then she's like, wait till you get a response now before you go and buy a shoe. I'm like, see, mommy, I'm not serious. I went to Instagram. I saw shoes that I liked. And I went and I paid for those shoes. They said the shoes were coming the next day. I said, great, fantastic, good. I have shoes for my interview. Heels, though, I was ready. So I bought those shoes just like in faith. That's okay. I'm going to wear these shoes to this interview. And funny story, the next day was supposed to be CDS day, right? Because the interview was scheduled for Tuesday. So Wednesday was CDS day. I came back early from CDS that day. And then this was like 1 p.m. I get a call from a strange number. Hello. Hi, how do you think your interviews? How are you? This is Kiniko from Microsoft. Oh, hello, hi. How do you think your interviews went? I don't know. I think they went. Oh, how was the interview yesterday? I think that's what he asked. How was your interview yesterday? Because it was the same person that I was already talking to from LinkedIn that called. Right. So I didn't even think they were calling to tell me, oh, you're moving on to the next stage. I just thought it was him calling, trying to be friendly. And then, oh, how did your interviews go? I'm like, I think they went well. And he was like, oh yes, they really went well. I'm calling you to congratulate you. They're moving on to the next day. I said, blood of Jesus. What? I was so excited. Like, and then the funny thing is, as I was having this conversation, I was like, yes. I was like, are you excited? I said, yes, I'm excited. I'm happy. Thank you. And then when I was done, I shouted. I went to meet my mom. I said, Mommy, see,
it's happening.
Like it's happening. And then 2 minutes after, I get another call from a dispatch person telling me that my shoe is downstairs. So it's like, it was a weird coincidence. And like I said, that faith thing, it played its role as well. But like, the call came, and then the shoe came not long after. And I'm like, oh God, this is sad. Yeah, they said the interview was like almost a month after that, like 3 weeks after that. So from that day, I was already getting prepared. When I'm going to the office during break, geeks4geeks.com, I was already getting ready. Like I didn't want this thing to pass me by again. And I think another thing that was good was that I was just graduating from school, so a lot of things were still fresh in my memory at that time. And then, went for the interviews again. I didn't only read about like technical stuff. I also read about how to conduct yourself during interviews. I also learned about the fact that in an interview process, it's not just a yes sir, yes ma kind of thing. Like they're not just interviewing you.
Should be interviewing them.
You should be interviewing them as well. Learn to ask questions. Like go there feeling very confident. Bring your best self to the table, and then by God's grace, amazing things will happen. So I went there with that mindset. I did the thing, and then they called me 6 days after. Because I was counting day 1, day 2. Because I asked my friend in Vancouver, how many days did it take before they called you? He said 2 weeks. I said, okay, so that means if after 2 weeks they've not called me, then I need to go back to church with their picture. So I was counting day 1, day 2, and on day 6, I got a call back. That's, congratulations, this one, we're going to give you the offer. So next week, we are going to call you to give you a verbal offer. And then if you accept the verbal offer, then we'll send in the written offer and then you sign. I'm like, yes, I'm ready.
Whatever it is.
If you want me to start tomorrow. Because already also at that time, I was getting tired of like where I was working because a lot of things were just, you know, Nigerian company. Right? So it was it was a very exciting journey. It wasn't just like, oh, I graduated and then I put my leg forward and then boom, I got into Microsoft. A lot of things happened in between that most times I don't really talk about, but I was lucky because not a lot of people get into this kind of company in Nigeria straight out of, like, I mean, if we're talking about people in the US, I mean, they're in the US, right? But in Nigeria, it's not every day that somebody just graduates and then they finish NYSC and then boom, they're in Microsoft, boom, they're in Google. Some of them, it takes them a while.
Time. Yeah.
But a lot of things had to happen under G for that to be possible.
What would you say is the best thing about working in Microsoft in the last 2 years?
I think it's the kind of work that I do. It can be annoying, but it's never boring. I'm always learning things. Even in the learning, I will probably get frustrated because I mean, we're software engineers, we signed up for this frustration. But it's never boring, it's always challenging, I'm always learning. I know that if I do a reassessment of my skills as an engineer, every month I'm a better engineer than I was. Working in a place like that, where they have like interesting things that you're working on. For example, I don't know how many people the Microsoft Mesh announcement. Like that was a huge deal. I couldn't imagine that I was working on
something like
that product, right? Like it was a lot. Even few days before the announcement, a lot of people on my team, like everybody was working tirelessly to make that thing possible, and like just being able to see something that amazing come to the world and you were part of it since its inception is like crazy. And I appreciate the kind of projects that I work on. Also the culture there is not a yes man type of thing. Like I can be a stand-up and say, oh, I haven't worked today because I'm currently driving and I'm on my way to go for a radio interview, but I plan to work PST. And nobody's going to look at me like,
this is what we're paying you for.
This is what we're paying you for. Nobody really cares about when you start or finish your work. It's just that at some point, get the work done and make sure it's good work. And everybody's also really like, it's a company that also has a good feedback culture. So if something goes wrong and you tell somebody that, oh, this is what I want, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I want to do, this is what I would have expected from this, but this isn't what I got. Sometimes it might not always go your way, because when you give your manager feedback, they'll still go and give other people feedback, and then the things that will get fixed will get fixed. Some will be shorter, some will take longer. But the point is, nobody's going to dismiss your feelings, nobody's going to make you feel like you're a mad person because this is what you really want. And for me, that's something that I believe is priceless as well. I love working with them.
Amazing. Now, one of my maybe second to last question, or final question, we'll see, is how is it like being a woman in tech?
A lot of things that women...
Female software engineer, precisely.
A lot of things that women talk about in general, like, oh, this is my experience as a woman in tech. I've been very lucky to not have any of these experiences, if I'm being very honest. Nobody has tried to, oh yeah, a woman this. Yes, on Twitter, people will be crazy, but the truth is, people are crazy to almost everybody. On social media, everybody's mad. So I'm not using that as a way to judge, like as a yardstick for anything. But I know that sometimes I get side comments like, oh, yeah, I saw. Yeah, I fine girl, I didn't know that. And I'm like, wait, hold up first. So people that are fine cannot engineer software. Is that what you are telling me? Also, there was a time that I was in my second year And there was a guy in my 3rd year, same department. I used to do this thing where in school, I used to make friends with people the year above me because I needed to hear their experiences of the courses they just did. Because it's like, they just did it. I'm about to do it. I need to hear about the lecturer. I need to hear. So I need to, because like, I mean, me graduating in first class wasn't really because I'm the smartest person. I'm just very calculative. I'm just very intentional about steps that I take.
So a strategy behind it.
Like there was a strategy behind that. I'm not saying I'm not smart. I'm a slow starter. Unlike other people where it's easy for them to just see it and get it. I need some time. And I've noticed that about myself. So normally I like to put things in place that make it so that this, I don't want to call it a problem, but this thing that I've noticed about myself isn't stopping me from being what I want to be or achieving what I want to achieve. So I'd reach out to those people. So like I'm that kind of person that at the beginning of the semester, okay, based on the way this lecturer is, if I can read for this course, I can get B. This one I can get C. If I get A in the rest, I'll be like on the 4.6. That's okay, I'll still be on first class. So that's what I used to do at the beginning of every semester. So there was a particular guy, I don't want to say his name, because what he did didn't make sense. We were walking in the department, and I was asking him about a particular lecturer, and he was giving me just about how this lecturer in the previous year, he gave everybody stupid results, that the highest person in that particular course had a C. And then he was like, hey, you just aim for like a D or something, right? And you'll be fine. I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to aim for a D. If I can aim for a B or an A, I'll probably get it. I'm on the first class now, sure you know. He was like, oh, are you serious? You're too pretty to be on the first class. That's what this guy said to me. Computer science, I was in my 2nd year, he was in his 3rd. And he opened his mouth to tell me, you are too pretty to be on the first class. Also, on my graduation day, I was very happy. That was the first time I had blonde hair in my life. I was blonde on my graduation day. I had fixed my nails. I carried a bouquet to Unilag. I don't know how many people do that. I don't know if anybody at all does that, but I'm extra, and I did it. I got into the hall, walking to the front where the first class people stay. And then one female usher, girl, so now I'm giving you the instance of a guy, and I'm giving another one of a girl. This girl blocked me, and she's like, oh, this is only for first class people. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to the front. And she sees the confidence in my face, and the next thing she goes, oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, what department? I say computer science. Okay, this is where computer science people are sitting. Do you want to sit here? And I'm like, wow. So because I look like a princess,
a diva now, like,
I cannot have first class. I don't get. So in being a woman that is ambitious or brilliant, I've had these you are very beautiful, why are you doing these takes? But a woman in tech, I've never had any experience like that. I'm probably just lucky, I don't know. And I've not worked in too many places if I've been. I'm in Microsoft where the culture is a sensible place. I was in that other company where it was a very small company, a very new company. Everybody was trying to be modern and stuff like that. So I've not really had any of these issues if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I really hope I don't.
I hope
to be
so
honest. But I see people that have these issues and it just really breaks my heart.
Yeah. Very disheartening. So I know that you do YouTube. I mean, obviously, AdoraHack. But you also DJ. Just me about it. Like, why YouTube? Why DJ? Is that what you're going to leave software engineering for in a couple of years to do full time?
No, when I say I don't want to write code again, I'll probably just like transition into another role still in a tech company. Maybe like more leadership focused. But we'll see. I mean, that's what my body's telling me now. You can tell me another thing. But my DJing thing goes as far back as 2010. If I'm being very honest, I was in secondary school, JS3, SS1. I had laptop. I used to like music a lot, so I was always just mixing music on virtual DJ at the time. And then I was like a music plug for anybody in my set that either wanted to do like, oh, we're going for a music competition, we're going to dance. Okay, what songs do you think will help us win if we get good choreography to the songs? I used to help them pick the songs. I used to help them mix the songs. I used to do all of that. And I still used to. I was even a producer at the time. Do you remember that Don Jazzy's Enigma beat?
Yes.
I rapped to it.
Okay.
I rapped to it.
Okay.
With my cockroach voice.
Woman of many talents.
With my cockroach voice, I rapped to it, and my set people insulted my life because I sounded like a baby, but that's a different conversation. So like, I've just always liked music in general, and last year during the lockdown, I needed to keep myself busy, right? Like before, all the traffic time, there was no traffic again. There was no time to spend in traffic. So now I needed to divert that traffic time into something else. And then I started doing IG lives. I created my DJ Instagram page, and then I started doing IG lives from there. And then I've played at like 3 places physically since then. Hopefully, when this entire COVID thing reduces and dies down, I would make more DJ appearances. I plan on doing that. By God's grace, DSF, I'm coming for you. By God's grace, that's what my plan is. And for you, do you
think you're ever going to like focus fully on DJing, or you always just be a hobby, passion?
No, it's going to be a hobby. If it's this thing about programming that I said before, and now I'm telling you I'm tired. I've become tired because now I've created a job out of it. If I left it as a hobby, I don't think I would have gotten tired. And I don't want that to happen to me and my music, right? So I'm just going to leave that as a
That's
hobby.
A very powerful thing to say, because
when you start making money from something, it becomes like a chore, and then what you used to love about it anymore starts to look very stressful to you, and you no longer have that interest. So I don't want to do that to my DJ. YouTube, however, I started doing YouTube in 2019, I think about May or June 2019. And also it was just because I wanted to share stuff. And I found out about myself that I like to talk. I talk too much. I'm sure your viewers can testify. I talk a lot, I'm sorry.
But not sorry.
But that's how I am. If I'm fake, then you'll not enjoy this video. I promise. But yeah, I like to talk, and that would be a better way to share things that I learn. If in the process of me sharing the things that I'm learning, I'm enjoying myself while doing it,
okay, why
it
not?
Makes more sense, so why not? So that's why I started doing YouTube. Yeah,
that's actually one of the reasons why I started YouTube too. I was like, I like to talk, I talk well. I might as well just be making videos. Because at some point I used to write a lot, and I just got bored and tired of writing.
I agree.
But I still like talking, so might as well.
Yeah.
Chicken. Awesome. So my final question is, tech is one of those industries, maybe the key industry right now that every young person is looking to get into. Because if you're in Nigeria and you want to make money or you want to earn in dollars, they're like, that's where the money is. So it's just like, when you said that in 2016 it was very nascent, now it's growing, it's evolving, like it's a big, people know that there's a tech ecosystem in Nigeria. For young people who want to get into software development now, what would be your 1 or 2 or 3 top advice? If somebody comes and say, hey, I'm just leaving school, I think I have a passion for coding, but I'm just not sure what would be the best way to start my career as a software engineer, what would you tell the person?
I would tell you to not be a software engineer. I'm lying. I'll tell you to try different things and figure out what it is that you'd like. Because I wouldn't say, oh, you like coding? Oh yeah, I'm doing infrastructure engineering, come and join me here. Infrastructure engineering might not be something that you would enjoy, and if I drag you into that, trust me, you will now leave infrastructure engineering and you will leave programming in general, because you would think that that is how programming is in general. So I would advise you to do your research first, learn about the different fields that exist, try different things and find out what you like. Once you are sure that, okay, this is what I like, find a community that focuses on these things, where they're like people, there are resources, there's like things to aspire to, like mentors. That word has been overused and it annoys me, but just like people that you can look up to, right? Take courses if you can, right? If you can afford a boot camp, do it instead. If you can afford any sort of learning that is properly structured, do it. Anything that would give you, or if you can even do these things where, oh, we're teaching you how to code and then we're backing it up with work experience, those things would be great, because at the end of the day, when you're done learning how to code, you need to build stuff. Either through a company as you're working there, or through open source contributions, or on your own somehow, but you need to build stuff, because that's the only way that you would be able to open your mouth and beat your chest and say, yes, I'm an engineer and I can write code. Are you going to hire me or not? Because this field is mostly about what can I see you do? What have you done? Like, what contributions have you made? To what technology have you made these contributions? Coming out and using buzzwords. It works in some different fields. It works in some places. It works very well in management in this country. Coming out and using buzzwords is not going to help you in tech. And if this is something that you really want to do, it's important to do your research, learn to write code, learn to read code as well. Because I've realized that I actually learn better. I learn new ways of doing things when I read other people's code. So do your research, learn to write code, learn to read code. Just keep stuff. Just build stuff. Just be building. They will come and look for you.
Amazing. I'm going to add something to that, and that would be to start early. And I'm adding it because I think one of the things that I got from your story is just how almost everything you're doing, you started very early. You got a computer, started to code and doing Visual Basics at 8, and started DJing at 10. You know, just starting early. I mean, most of the people who watch this video will probably be in their early 20s or maybe teenagers. But start as early as you can. And the earliest time you can do anything is literally right now that you're knowing that there's a possibility that this exists, right? So start early. I mean, the earlier you can, the better. And then read, write, build stuff, and do your research as soon as possible. Any final words?
Yeah.
Because she likes to talk.
And also about starting early, there's one thing I want to add to that. Start early because life is really short. What are you waiting for? Like, I'm sorry to say this, but it's the truth, right? Nobody has monopoly of time. You are not guaranteed 80 years or 120 years. So if there's something that you like, if there's something that you want, do it now. Really, there's no need waiting. I just wanted to add that.
Do it now, guys.
Hashtag do it now.
Hashtag do it now. Subscribe to my channel now.
What are you waiting for? Are you waiting to watch 5 videos? Do it now.
Also, guys, thank you so much for staying to this video to the end. You can follow Adora on Twitter.
Adora Nwodo.
Yes, that's a handle. All right, guys. Peace out.
Bye.